Before the accident, I was a stunt performer in film. Before that, I was a professional Thai boxer living in Thailand, and before that, I was modeling. So I've had quite a range of jobs, but I've always done stuff that I use my body as my job. I was on a film called Resident Evil, the final chapter, I think it's called. I was dubbing for an actress called Neale James. The character's like a zombie killer, and she saves the world and all that jazz. And we're supposed to shoot a fight scene that we're doing on top of a moving truck, and that we've been rehearsing for a month. But that day it was raining, so they decided not to do the fighting on top of the truck. It's too dangerous. So they weren't sure what to shoot, so they decided, just to shoot some motorbike stuff. We just had a stunt. We had to drive in a straight line, and coming towards me in the opposite direction was a camera vehicle. So it's a Mercedes SUV with a crane off the side of it and a camera on the end of the crane. And the crane moves around, so that as I went towards it, the camera coming in the opposite direction was supposed to start on the floor, and then as I come towards it, it lifts up and over me. But they just didn't lift the camera in time, so I went straight into it. And then it hit me here on my face and my shoulder. I remember actually the whole day up until a few seconds before the moment. Somehow, luckily, your brain switches it off for you. Well, I remember the first thing I saw when I came out of the coma. I saw, were you looking up because I was lying down? And I saw my husband's face, and I think my mother. But you got a lot going on because I had tubes out my head for my brain injuries, for brain swelling. I had tubes out the side of me to suckle the internal bleeding because it punctured squashed my lung. And then I had tubes out my neck, something, I don't know, but tubes all out my body, and then got a huge tube down your throat, so like that. You can't talk or do anything. But how they bring it out is very clever. They start off, your family are not allowed to speak, not allowed to touch you. They put a cloth over your eyes so that you get no light. There's no sound, nothing. So nothing can make your brain realize there's something else going on. You just have to total shutdown. So while they're bringing me out, my husband had to drip feed me the story, sort of make me feel secure, so that when I came out I wasn't like, oh, where am I? I'm in a hospital, what happened? So when I came out, I actually knew that I was in a motorbike accident. I knew that I was in hospital. So I wasn't in shock. I've always been fit and in shape, but this was the fittest and the most in shape I've ever been, I think. When I first came out of the coma and I was in hospital, they had to first teach me to sit up. I had absolutely zero muscle left, zero. And then slowly but surely you can move a little bit more, and then I was walking up and down the hospital. And a big step was to take one step up the flight of steps and then go up a flight and down. My main focus was just to get strong at the time. Eventually, I couldn't do anything when I had my arm because I had no freedom. The weight was just unbearable. So I couldn't train or do anything. Then as soon as I had my arm amputated, I decided I'm going back to training, because training's always been a huge part of my life. And it's very important to get my balance back and just my sort of body recognition for myself. In the near future, my dream, sounds pathetic, but my dream is to just feel normal. Because at the moment I've got everything twisted on this quarter of my body, everything's twisted in the wrong direction. It's always pulling on my neck. I've got loads of back injuries. It's really hard to stand up for more than half an hour or so. In the beginning I said to the nerve surgeon, he said after 2 years the injury should start calming down, because it's still acute for 2 years, which seems so long, but it still feels like I had the accident yesterday. So I said to him, no, well, I was aiming on just 1 year. And then he laughed at me. But I've done really well for 1 year. I think once I have all my shoulder operations done, then I should be able to know when. But by the end of this year, is like my quiet goal, that I want to feel better.